Today we're going to check out peak Nicolas Cage in 1997's Conair on 4K UHD. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad the movie is, I'm just going to share some thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot on film. I'm not sure if it's got a 2K or 4K DI, but if you know, then leave a comment down below. It's rated R, runtime is 115 minutes, aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio is a brand new Dolby ATMOS mix. Before we take a look at the audio and see how active this mix is, if you don't know what the ATMOS viewer is, you can find a link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where to get it. You can also find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there as well. Well, this got the brand new Dolby ATMOS remix treatment from Disney, and we all know that Disney mixes, for the most part, are usually locked in a 7.1.2 configuration, and it is the same for Conair as well. Now, comparing this to the older Blu-ray, the ATMOS does sound about 4 or 5 dB lower than the DTS mix. Also, comparing the shootout at Lerner Airport, the gunshots and explosions do sound brighter on the DTS mix and a little bit more pronounced over the ATMOS mix. Even if you turned up the ATMOS mix, it still sounds a bit compressed up top. However, the new mix does sound a little more spacious since we do get rear surrounds and there is a lot of overhead extension. Looking at the ATMOS viewer, you can see that only my top 2 middle channels are active. For all of you guys that have 4 top channels, all 4 of them would be active. But this mix does engage the top channels for most of the runtime except for maybe a few quieter scenes, which really aren't that many. If the surround activity is in the lower channels, then you can be sure that it'll be extended up top. It's not super aggressive, but it does add a touch more sense of space. Now, there are 2 moments where there are fully dynamic objects that gets used with all of your available speakers. At 41 minutes 6 seconds in, there's an explosion which sends debris flying over your head to the back speakers. And at 43:52, there's a flyover from front to back. Kind of a strange choice to have that specific flyover use dynamic objects because there's about a dozen other flyovers in this movie that do remain static. They still sound convincing, but it would have sounded smoother panning-wise to use every available channel. Now, except for the high-frequency detail, I did find the bass response sounded pretty much the same between the two. The bass was nothing over the top or really demo-worthy, but the explosions and action scenes do hit really hard. I didn't feel like the bass was lacking or that I needed any more than what was already there, so I felt the amount of bass was totally appropriate. And thanks to Kaleidoscape for this copy of Conair so I can share with you guys, the home theater movie loving community, this 4K review. Now, if you want to get your movies weeks and sometimes months before they come out on 4K Blu-ray in the same, if not better quality, consider getting a Kaleidoscape at our channel partner, Dream Media. Links can be found down below in this video's description. If you own the older Blu-ray, then you already know it's kind of horrible looking. It's got edge enhancement, halos, noise reduction, all over the place. It's pretty bad. This new remaster is a huge improvement over that older Blu-ray. The image is tighter, cleaner, sharper, and far more detailed over that 1080p version. And the dust and scratches are also gone as well. Now, this was shot on film, so you can expect a very light level of film grain throughout. Although I do think they may have used a touch of noise reduction to clean up some of the grain because it does have a little softness to it in some parts. There's still a huge increase in detail, so pores and wrinkles are now visible in those close-up shots, and there's a ton of detail in the backgrounds. The Blu-ray is a blurry mess in comparison. As for the HDR, this isn't really a bright movie. I'd say it leans more on the dimmer side. It's got a warmer tone for a lot of the outdoor scenes, while the interiors have a cooler, slightly cyan, greenish look to it. The bright highlights are not going to make you squint, but there are more details found in the explosions without much clipping. This is overall a very nice increase in all areas, so I'm going to go with an 8.9 for video. I'm on the fence for the audio mix. Yeah, it's lower in volume over the older Blu-ray, and some of the effects do seem a bit tame, but I do like the wider soundstage and the bass is basically the same. I'm going to go with an 8 for audio. This is a fantastic looking 4K upgrade and a must-have if you're a fan of the movie, or of 90s action flicks, or of Nick Cage. That's a must-own. Now, this was based on the Kaleidoscape version, which comes in at 67 gigs in Dolby Vision and 68.5 gigs in HDR10, which is the version I saw. Now, at the time of this video, there is no known release date for a 4K Blu-ray. However, it is available on digital streaming or in full bitrate on the Kaleidoscape. So what are your thoughts on Conair in 4K? Have you seen it, and do you like the movie? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you again in the next one.